Hi, and welcome to Chapter 15, Speaking to Persuade. Preview. What is persuasion? How do I use ethos or credibility to persuade? How do I use logos or logic to persuade? How do I use pathos or emotions to persuade? How do I adapt my message to my audience? Our 5 principles are especially useful in our Speaking to Persuade chapter. Persuasion is the process of intentionally changing or reinforcing attitudes, beliefs, values, and/or behaviors. The persuasive speaker invites and motivates the listener to make a choice rather than just offering information about the options. Coercion, by contrast, is the use of force to get another person to think or behave as you wish. Coercion is unethical because it takes away free choice. An attitude is a learned tendency to respond favorably or unfavorably, a like or dislike. A belief is a sense of what is true or false. A value is an enduring conception of what is right or wrong. Our behavior is made up of our likes, dislikes, what we consider to be true and false, and right and wrong. They guide our behavior. On the outside, you have attitudes. Those are easier to influence. Inside the attitude, you have belief. They're harder to influence. And one of the most difficult things to influence are values. In selecting and narrowing your topic, consider stemming from personal convictions. Be sure to know the issues that affect your listeners. Be sure not to select frivolous topics that you think might be easier. Remember, consider the audience. Ethos is all about credibility. Credibility is an audience's perception of a speaker's competence, trustworthiness, and dynamism. Competence is the perception of being informed, skilled, and knowledgeable. Trustworthiness is a perception of being believable and honest. Dynamism is a perception of being energetic. And finally, charisma is the perception of having talent, charm, and attractiveness. There are 3 forms of credibility: initial credibility, derived credibility, and terminal credibility. Initial credibility is the impression of a speaker's credibility that listeners have before the speaker begins to speak. Derived credibility is the impression of a speaker's credibility based on what the speaker says and does during the presentation. And terminal credibility is the final impression that listeners have of a speaker's credibility after the presentation has concluded. To enhance your initial credibility, be sure to dress appropriately, have a brief summary of your qualifications and accomplishments ready for the person who will introduce you. To enhance your derived credibility, be sure to establish common ground with your audience, support your arguments with evidence, and present a well-organized message. To enhance terminal credibility, be sure to prepare your conclusion and deliver it well. Maintain eye contact throughout your presentation and even after your closing sentence. And last, be prepared to answer questions after your presentation.